Hey, everybody, welcome to the Collector Chatter podcast. We are on episode 10. Today's episode is going to be revolving around one of my favorite Funko products, which is the Funko Sodas. And of course, I'm Miguel, aka Migs, and I'm here with my co host, Charlie. Charlie, what's going on, man? How was your week?
It was a good week. Also a great weekend. I was really pumped. I finally got to watch Shang-Chi when it came out on Disney Plus because I didn't see it in the movie theater. So that was a really good weekend. Getting to do that. And it's funny. I know we talked about in the past how there were so many Funko Pops for that line and why do they make them? And
Mhm.
now I was looking over some of the pictures of them again. I'm like, okay, I actually think this pop is now cooler before when I thought it was pointless. Like I know one of them, it looked like he was doing this weird kick, but it was actually, I mean, it's not really a spoiler for the movie, but it was like him doing something that he learned from his mother. So like it made the pop look a little cooler. So I
Yeah.
actually, after seeing that movie, I really like that line.
Yeah. It's actually funny because the same thing, I watched it as well. I watched it, what's like 2 nights ago or whatever. And it was the first time I saw it. Of course, if you guys don't know, it's on Disney Plus now for free. So you don't have to pay for it. But I thought it was pretty cool. It was a good movie. And I thought the same thing, like the pops kind of now made sense, which is something I brought up with the other Pixar movie that's going to be coming out soon.
Oh yeah, the new
Encanto,
yeah,
I think is
how
what
if
it
you
is, right?
don't see the movie,
Yeah, same thing. It's like the line releases, but it's not as exciting to me unless like you watched it and you start to really like these characters, especially with like live action ones. You can tie them to like an actor or an actress, where when you see them in pop form, you may not know exactly like who is who. And because I didn't
exactly.
know who Aquafina's character was when I saw the actual pops, but now knowing
Yeah.
the movie and stuff, it makes more sense. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool thing. So I did the same thing. I was able to recently watch it, but that was a pretty cool thing to just think about how that line is going forward. But yeah, we're gonna have a lot of talk about with Marvel for episodes to come because there's so many shows and movies coming out. So I
So
know that'll
many.
be I know that'll be something that we'll always be bringing up. But we're gonna start off today's episode before we get into our deep dive into Funko Sodas. We're going to talk about, some of the news, some of the drops like we normally do, stuff that, came out, whether, maybe we paid for some of the stuff, maybe we passed on it, regardless, our thoughts. And I wanted to start it off with, of course, a Star Wars thing for you, because I know this was something that we kind of mentioned this in the last episode when we spoke with Jeremy, actually, was the Bounty Hunters deluxe line. They released the last one, right? It's Darth
Yep, the Darth
Vader,
Vader one.
which you kind of had
Kind
an
of predicted,
assumption.
which it's a really cool pop. I mean, Darth Vader is one of my biggest collections. I try to get most of them. The only thing, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I obviously need to get this to complete the collection, but the mold, I feel like they reused a mold they already had and kind of
Yeah.
put in this line. I mean, not that it was going to be anything special because they're kind of all just standing there. But I don't feel like Darth Vader needed to be part of this collection. They needed to just like get one extra pop in the line. I mean, that for people who don't know, it's like an iconic scene from Empire Strikes Back where all the bounty hunters are like lined up in a line that Darth Vader has basically commissioned. But
Yeah.
you didn't need to have him, even though he's in the lineup, because it's a bounty hunter collection and he's not like a bounty hunter.
Yeah, he's not necessarily himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I feel like it's funny that you said that thing about the mold itself kind of being reused, etc. And I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but do you think that like that happens a lot with Star Wars, even because like a character like Darth Vader, like he doesn't change much. So like I
Yes.
feel like that's probably what's going to happen a lot of times with these recycling of molds,
Most of
right?
the Vaders are very, very similar. You're right. I mean, because he's a masked character, but I
Mm-hmm.
do feel like they could make, a few different types of poses or whatnot. Like, perfect example, he had shown up in Rogue One, and the Rogue One pop that they made for that line of Darth Vader wasn't anything special. You could put him in any box, but something that was so iconic about that movie was he had a really like badass lightsaber scene. They didn't even
Mm-hmm.
make a pop from that line with him holding his lightsaber like he was coming through like that hallway. Like to me,
Yeah.
they could have been a little more creative with it rather than, yeah, you're right. Like thinking about it right now, a lot of I feel like the Darth Vader molds are just reuse. They don't really make anything special with it.
Yeah, that's it's interesting. They're kind of missing out on that because obviously it's a big character, for sure for them to have. But yeah, that was one of the ones that I know dropped. for sure. And then there was a big Disney Plus day, which
Yeah.
of course Disney Plus day was Friday, right? Of last week.
Yep, it was Friday. And they announced a pretty decent amount of pops. There was for 3 different shows. One that I was most excited about was for the Book of Boba Fett. And that they came out with a new Boba Fett pop, which kind of had leaked that we had talked about in one of our previous episodes. It was up on Best Buy. You couldn't buy it, but it was up there. It's pretty cool because Boba Fett's armor is definitely going to look a little different in this show. So you can tell in this is a new version of it. So I'm really excited for that. And they made a new Fennec Shan one. It looks kind of similar to the one that's coming out in the Mandalorian line. So I was a little surprised by that. It's just like a different pose. I mean, I want both of them, but and they also came out with 2 pop keychains, which I'm going to pass on those of like those they're exactly the same. It's just of those 2 characters. Then they had came out with one Hawkeye, a new Hawkeye pop, which is pretty cool from the new show. I thought it was a little weird. They only came out with him, not Katie Bishop, which is the other main character that's in the show. I know they're going to make one, but why just announce the one Hawkeye one? Because then they came also with the Olaf Presents, which is a cute little short show that I know we both watched with our kids. And basically Olaf is doing a retelling of a bunch of Disney classic other cartoons. So they made him as like the different characters that he was telling the stories. I thought it's to me, that's a pretty creative line. And I really do like those. I thought those were pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, my daughter's already watched that like 100 times because it's only, I think, like 5 in total, and they're only like 3 minutes each. So yeah, and then Disney Plus does something where you can basically play them on as a compilation just right after each other. So she'll just like run through them like that. And it's funny because she loves Frozen, Olaf, and the character, but she also knows pretty much the majority of the movies that they're also, that he's basically retelling. And I feel like as an adult, it's funny because you get some of the jokes and things like that. But for the kids, it's cool to see them like. But the pops I thought were pretty cool. And they were smart. As soon as the show dropped, they dropped the pops. So like whether you saw it or not, like you were going to see what these pops were. And it's cool just to see Olaf. Like he's like Ariel as like the Little Mermaid. He's the genie in one of them from Aladdin. So it was pretty cool. It's a cute little line. I'm not going to really collect them. It's kind of like a little too extra. You got to be like really hardcore in that. But I guess for like a young kid or something, it's a cool pop to have. If you were to get it for your kids or something like that. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool one. I thought it was interesting as well with the Hawkeye, where it was just the Hawkeye that they came out with. So the show's not out to, I mean, it's pretty soon. It's not like it's going to be a while away.
It comes out for Thanksgiving, and the pop actually had a spoiler in it for people who aren't familiar with the show, which is we've talked about in the past that sometimes these pops come out earlier, and you have to be a pretty big fan. I don't know if you know what the spoiler is with the pop. They kind of alluded. I know. So spoilers if anyone's watching this show. But if you've read the comic book line that it's based off of, Hawkeye is going to become deaf in the show. And he does have an ear, like hearing aid piece on the pop, which I know a lot of people are super pumped that they're doing that. And I did see a lot of chatter on Instagram and a lot of accounts we follow of people being like, yes, like this is happening, and like they put the detail in the pop. I thought that was a great detail that they did include, because you can see the like hearing piece on his ear.
That's interesting that they even did that, like not even just spoiler wise, just like that's a super minute detail. It's like,
I agree,
you don't see that in a lot of pops, especially around the ear, because majority of pops don't really have. Some of them have ears. I guess it depends, but like, they don't have like too many pieces on there. So that's actually pretty cool that they did that. Even if it is somewhat of a spoiler, if you don't know too much about it, like you said, if it's more in the comic,
I'm sure you're going to find out immediately in the show. But I was impressed. Like you said, I thought it was really cool that they did that. It showed that they didn't just, I mean, it probably is one of the old Hawkeye molds, but they at least updated it with the new costume and that little piece, which was good.
Yeah, I was gonna say it resembled some of his other ones. So I know that's probably why when I saw it drop, I didn't even really look into it. It was just kind of like, all right, so there's a Hawkeye, and it's obviously because the show's coming out. But yeah, the fact that there wasn't any more in that line was a little interesting to see when that's gonna happen, whether they're gonna wait closer to Thanksgiving time or if after it drops. Because there's no way it's just gonna be him, especially when there's a second pretty main character, and let alone the secondary characters and stuff.
Wondering
that
though,
was something that was interesting.
If they'll now talking out loud is we've said in the past how with most of these Marvel shows, they've come out with new pops after every episode or every few episodes. I'm assuming that's where they're going to continue that. They obviously did it with What If, they did it with Loki, they did it with WandaVision, and they did it with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So
that's true. Yeah, maybe because it's a show and not a movie, they're
gonna
not
do
dropping the full.
which
So
I
that
like.
could be what's going on. Yeah, it makes it good because maybe, I mean, even though they already kind of dropped a little bit of a spoiler, maybe it kind of hides some of the major, reveals and stuff by doing that. So I think that'll be pretty interesting in that term. But there was another pretty big drop. Not something I'm gonna go after, but some of the pops looked pretty cool. If you're a gamer, it's a pretty big one for you guys. But the Halo Infinite, so it was a new line. I think I want to say maybe like 4 or so pops. There's a couple that look pretty cool. They, if you remember some of the Master Chief stuff, and if you played Halo at all, you probably know. But then there was also one that I thought was interesting. I don't know if you saw, it's kind of like the regular common one that they're dropping, and then there's a chase of it,
and it's
and
different
it's
color
literally
sword, right?
Yeah, it's the laziest chase ever.
I agree. It really bothered me.
Exactly the same pop, and it has like one of those swords from Halo, and one's like blue and one's like red, I think, or something like that. It's literally the only difference. There's nothing different in the stand, the outfit, nothing at all, armor, nothing. It was just that. So that was kind of stupid. I feel like it just come out with one of those, if anything. And then some of the others that I think are exclusive looked a little cooler. But yeah, that was just a line.
Weird fact though about those that we're talking about them. I do not know why, but on Target, like when I was just scrolling through looking at the new pops they released on their website, they did not get the price increase, but all the other new pops that dropped that they did. I don't know why.
Really?
Super weird. They're only $8.99 as brand new pops. Where
that's interesting.
I know, which the next one we can talk about new pops that drop, where The Witcher, they kind of came out the same day to pre-order, and they had all the new pricing, which I thought was weird. I don't know if it was a computer mistake.
Yeah, maybe it's, I mean, maybe it's an error, maybe it's something that's kind of interesting though. And just overall, just that it's like, because we've spoke about this a little bit, but if you guys didn't know, obviously with this price increase, I feel like Target, I mean, we've mentioned it when we've spoken just to each other, that was probably one of the biggest increases, because they used to have pops for $8.99.
Yeah.
So like, Funko and stuff would be like $11, and then they raised it to 12. So it wasn't like crazy, but them being at $8.99, it was a big deal to see like
that
all the way up to $12. Yeah. So it's interesting that those are still coming up. I mean, I guess we'll see when they really drop, whatever, or if you pre-order them, hopefully they don't just, make your price go up, because they can also do that. But we also had, let's see, what else? This was a pretty cool one. The Witcher, the Witcher one. And I was gonna say, when you mentioned Target, I wanted to make sure we mentioned the Ninja Turtles as well.
Oh yeah.
So that was another one. So the Witcher is, so I don't know too much about The Witcher specifically, or like about like.
Yeah, so it's a Netflix show. It's based off the books, but there's also a video game which made it really, really popular.
Game. Okay, yeah.
So the video game line actually already exists of Funko Pops, and
I was gonna say
they even made like the video game line that they've been doing with like the covers, just like they're doing with the comic books and the albums. That The Witcher actually has one. This though is all based off the Netflix series that stars Henry Cavill, so he's the main character.
Okay,
that actually had a pretty cool chase for his. I feel like they're bringing the chase game back with a lot of the new lines for Funko. I don't know if, because we're obviously going to talk about it later, if sodas have made the people more excited about chases, or like we should start putting more and more of them back into the Funko Pop line, because I don't know about you, like I just feel like there's been a lot more now.
Yeah, and it's funny because I think at one point I had mentioned this before, but that I felt like what was weird is that there wasn't as many chases as there used to be.
Yeah.
So I feel like there was always a lot of opportunity for pops to have chases. Then they went through like a gap of not really getting them, or you just didn't see chases in certain pops. And then now, like you said, it seems like a lot of the newer ones are kind of coming back to us getting these chase options, which of course is a 1 in 6 chance at getting like a variant of some sort. And, we can go on and on about chases in terms of some of them are awesome, some of them are lazy, but the fact that we're seeing more of them, it's something that I think is pretty good, because I like that idea of having the chase, especially when you order like from Funko or Hot Topic or whatever, and you don't know if you're going to get the chase. Like I know it happened to you where you ordered a pop thinking it was gonna actually just
Yeah,
be the normal common, and it
which is
came as
random, and
the
that it's
chase.
never happened to me ever. Because I actually was like, was a non-believer in like you could ever actually get a chase on your own through ordering
Yeah,
something online.
unless you bought like a bunch of them or a case or something.
Yeah, like it's the only way I feel like, because I have plenty of pops that have chases, and I've never gotten one until I got the Joker from Batman '89. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I actually got this, which was awesome.
And it's a
That's
cool
what's
one.
cool
Yeah.
about the sodas. It's like you actually have a chance. I feel like
Mhm.
when you have a much better chance, in my opinion, even though they'll say it's the same odds, I
Yeah.
just don't see that being the case.
Yeah, I feel like because there's just more overall pops like of that release, like there's not necessarily 5,000, 10,000. There's probably like 100,000. So
Yeah.
like you, even though that just means there's more chases, that just means there's even more chance of getting common. So that's probably why we don't see it that way. But yeah, but that seems like a cool one. I know I believe there's a season 2, right? That's
Yeah,
announced or
season
that's gonna be
two's
coming. So
coming
maybe
like
that's
really
why.
soon. Sorry, that's a show that's like on my list that I just have not gotten to watch it, but I really, really
Yeah.
want to
Yeah, I
watch
heard
it.
it was pretty good, but I never watched it
Yeah.
myself either. But that
Even
should
though
be
not
interesting.
watching the show, the line looks pretty cool
Yeah.
of the pops. So I
Cool.
think
So
they'll be a
those
big
those
hit.
are ones. It definitely. I mean, I'm sure for anyone that likes the show or gamers in general, that probably still want to get those
Yes.
pops. And then, like I said, Target. So Target, we announced before, was doing every week they're doing like a drop on Friday, whatever. And then what we found out was the first one was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and now it seems like every week there's just going to be a different character from the Ninja Turtles, and they're the artist series, which we already have issues with this because normally they just look crazy. This one, like the mold, so the first one they released was Michelangelo, right? So
Yeah.
Michelangelo's the first one. It's literally a redone mold. So it's the where he's holding like the
The
box of
pizza.
yeah. So that pop just recently came out as the second wave of the like retro pops of those Ninja Turtles, because the first wave he's just normal, and then in the second wave they came out with that mold. So it's literally the same mold. I'm assuming they're going to do the same with Leo, Donatello, and the rest of them.
Yeah.
However, they made it into like an art series. For this one, it's like a bunch of Ninja Turtle faces around them, and then you see like some words to say like
I
what
don't
is
even
it?
remember what it
Pizza.
said.
One says like pizza and stuff, which is weird. It's the word. But I was talking to Charlie about this when we saw that it dropped, and I personally would have rather have seen like pizzas all over him or the sewer, tops all over him, rather than the actual face of a Ninja Turtle all over him. But it's a pretty nice looking art series, I guess. If you're into the art series, it's just not something I'm really going to go after. And now that they're going to drop them one by one, I'm sure they're going to also do maybe like a shredder and a splinter and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I think I saw
it's
like a leak maybe from Pop Freak actually.
yeah,
That it is gonna be, obviously the main turtles, a shredder and a splinter. And like you said, it does look like it's obviously the molds, they're reusing them, but it's weird. I liked it with the turtles faces actually on there because it reminded me of like the Ninja Turtles I loved growing up as a child. It's like the original like cartoon faces, but the
yeah.
molds are actually from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the live action movie, the second one. So it's just like
Okay, yeah.
it's completely like random. It's not the retro line, it's from the live action movie. And I also, is it I don't think it's like, why this line just seems so random.
I don't, yeah, I don't think there's really, I mean, I don't know, but it could
Yeah.
be like an anniversary or something. They're not really dropping anything new in relation to that. I don't know. It sure is such a weird thing because obviously we had the old live action movies, we have the cartoons, they used to be comics, because now they're actually going to do the comic pops,
Which those
which are
look
kind of
awesome.
tying back. Yeah, that's super cool because it's tying back to the origins. If most of you didn't know, Ninja Turtles actually started as a comic. So obviously it being color, and then there was a black and white because comics, back in the day were also black and white, which I always found was funny with Ninja Turtles specifically because most of us know who they are because of their colors,
Color.
versus where you had to know about their weapons in order to know who was who.
Yeah,
So
which
that's
is
a pretty
cool.
cool thing that they're doing that with the black and white. But yeah, I don't have the OG turtles. They're obviously, grails now and they're super cool. I got the first initial wave of them when they came released as like the retro one because I thought they looked really cool. I don't need too many more of them. So I
Yeah.
kind of passed on the last line that recently dropped, and I'm probably gonna pass on these, but if you like Ninja Turtles and you're a completionist, it's something cool. It's new, and it's just kind of more of that art series thing. It's just I don't think they're hitting with the art series overall. I think some have been okay, but like as an overall thing, I just don't think it's.
Do
And they
you
keep
think
making
they're
them, so maybe
doing
they are.
well? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They must be doing
I
well.
don't know.
And these were a lot more expensive. They were $25, I think.
Oh wow, yeah, that's
Which I
not.
was like, whoa, that it's
Yeah,
just
because I
not.
think art series overall raised up as well, like a bigger jump because it was already, I think, what 20 maybe or something. So maybe
It
that's why
was,
it
and
looks
at
like
least so they
25.
do include a pop stack, but I just find it interesting, and I want your opinion on it. Like, why do you think Funko deems like, oh, we should put a pop stack in these artist series pops? Like, are they trying to say that they think these are going to be worth money, or are they trying to give that
I mean, it
illusion that they
has to
are?
be. It has to be that they're like a special because the thing about, I mean, we not to get on a tangent because we don't go
Yeah,
too crazy on this, but I know with art series initially it was about an artist and actually having artists specifically
yeah,
do
the
like an
very
art
beginning.
piece and like or some kind of look that was like that, and that made more sense. Okay, that was very unique to somebody. It was, so okay, that's why I was going to drop like that. But then everything after that was basically, in my eyes, what you see in art series, all it means is that you're going to take a mold of a pop, you're going to kind of paint it one color, and then you're just going to splatter a logo or a design multiple times. So it's not even like a piece of art. It's not like color like the Batman ones. At least like there was a little bit more going on when those first started coming out. So like
Yeah,
I feel like now it's just like literally could be a plain pop with like one logo on it a few different times and splattered around. All of a sudden it makes
yeah,
art series. And because they've done that, they've stuck with the okay, this is a higher end, it's cooler. We're gonna put it in a stack because it's better. But if you really look at it, a lot of those don't have value. So they're really not. Like look at the Captain America one that released. Those
yeah,
things were
like
on shelves forever. Like
forever.
I made a joke about it. I think I may even put it on my Instagram or something. I made a joke about it that I would buy it just to get the stack, not even for, and it's a
Yeah,
cheap pop stack. It's not like the better one, but it to me meant would actually be better for me to do that and put it in a pop that actually, I'd want to protect rather than one of these. So yeah, it I don't think it's something that's really gonna hit, but yeah, that was something that did drop. I know I wanted to mention this because I know we have a Jeremy who listens all the time. Of course, he was our guest from last week. If you guys didn't listen, make sure that you check that one out. It was an awesome interview and everything with him. He was part of the show. But I know he likes comedians and he says he collects all the comedians. I don't know if you saw, there's a Jeff Dunham pop actually releasing with Walter, which is like one of his puppets or whatever
yeah,
that
I
he
saw
does
that.
ventriloquist. So when you guys are listening to this, Monday, or if you haven't already, Monday, it's actually going to drop on his site, I believe, or through their like main sites. So I
I
did
think
want to
he already
shout that one
has a
out.
Funko Pop though.
So he might have, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
assuming this is a different version or
no,
like
it is, but it's just interesting. Speaking of Jeremy saying how he would love to see more comedians,
more.
it's like, does he need another pop? Like, it
Yeah,
just like,
and I think it's one of the funny lines where he brought it up because he wants specific ones to be added to it, and it's a funny one because, like he said, there's four comedians, but Joe Coy has one, but besides that, the other ones they all have duplicates. Like Gabriel Iglesias has like 5 or 6 different versions of
yeah, like
him,
he always
and
announces
now
a
this
new
one
one,
has
and
another
I'm
one.
like,
Yeah, so
why?
having a new actual comedian would be nice, but I mean,
Yes.
that's just one that I thought would be cool to kind of talk about. And I did want to mention two things before we get into our deep dive into soda. Was one, just kind of wanted to chime in and let you guys know that Charlie luckily did get his hands on the diecast Batman because that restocked, and I
Yes.
know you were super hyped about that.
Super hyped. I can't wait to get that in. That I'm definitely all about that line now. And I know we talked about this before with Jeremy as well. I'm just super excited. They continue that as like a superhero line, and we just get
Mhm.
classic superheroes. Like they demand like a new form factor and something that I'm really do like that line now.
Yeah, it's interesting to see if they do that. I hope they do as well. I hope they don't milk it into just getting too crazy. Stick with the this comic book superhero. Stick with DC, Marvel, whatever. And it's going to be interesting to see what's going to be the fourth one. I haven't seen any rumors about it at all, so like that'll be because obviously we saw rumors of Iron Man potentially, and then that was the one that finally dropped. So hopefully we'll see something after Batman. It's pretty cool. I mean, I think it makes sense to probably be like Joker just because he would be the next one. I don't think he makes sense to be made into diecast.
Yeah.
But I feel like his popularity would probably make that the next one. But I'm sure there's a bunch of other characters I can go over, which I would think would make more sense as diecast. But I guess we'll see and we'll wait.
Is there
And then
anyone you'd like
lastly,
to see, like personally?
well, so like obviously if it's a Joker, I would want it
Yeah,
because
of
I get
course.
everything Joker. But I feel like if it has to be, let's say it's another DC, because they obviously started with 2 Marvel and then they have Batman as the third one as a DC. I would say as a DC character, I think Flash would make more sense because I think like the color would look awesome. It would look kind of similar to how the Iron Man obviously with red and everything, but I think that would probably be a really cool one.
I'd like to
Or
see
Superman.
Superman. Yeah,
Or
I mean,
Superman. Yeah.
I feel like
I
they
feel
need to
like
make
they're
a
like the
Superman one.
most. Superman probably makes more sense over all of them, even more than Joker, honestly. But yeah, I think that would probably be the next one. That should be the next one. I mean, they usually kind of go hand in hand. Like when they made the covers, they made Superman, they made Batman.
Yep.
So like I guess we'll see. That would be a cool one. And Superman has a huge following beyond Funko, where just people who are just hardcore Superman
Yeah.
collectors, whether it's, you know, toys, movies, posters, everything. So that'll be something that'll be pretty cool. But lastly, I did want to bring this up just because this is just something that we're going to talk about in relation to something that's going to be dropping soon and what we think it means for Funko. And that's, of course, if you guys are in all Marvel fans or movie fans or just have a pulse, you know about Spider-Man No Way Home and how crazy it's going to be, all the rumors and everything. Finally, we're going to see the second trailer before the release, which is the release is like a month away, which is crazy. But on Tuesday, you're going to be able to see the actual trailer. It's finally officially going to drop. So what I was talking with Charlie about was like, I find it interesting that they dropped some of this line already. So obviously it was characters that we pretty much already know of in the Spider-Man,
Yep.
you know, movie universe of the newer ones. But they haven't dropped any villains. There's obviously some confirmed villains. There's some rumored villains. I think this trailer is going to really open us up to everybody that's going to be in it, whether there's going to be multiple Spider-Mans in it. All these things are finally, I think, going to be released in this. I think it's the smartest thing they should do. I think it's going to sell the most tickets ever if that's what they decide to do.
Yes.
And if that's the case, I think Funko, because we already know that Funko obviously knows all this beforehand. They kind of have to. I think they drop something right away. We see a bunch of releases this week. I think it's going to be a heavy Spider-Man No Way Home, you know, news thing that we're probably going to bring up next week. But that's my thoughts. Is there anything specific that you think? I mean, I feel like they kind of have to, if that's what happens.
Yeah, there's this line's going to be huge. I think it'll be one of the bigger Marvel lines, and I also think, bold prediction, this will produce one of the probably the greatest 3-pack that Funko's ever made.
Yeah,
That
honestly would be crazy.
I think there's no way they're not gonna make it, and it'll definitely go toe to toe with me for the Star Wars Force Ghost at the end of Return of Jedi. That is an Amazon exclusive that has not yet released. It's been delayed multiple times, sitting. And I just like I want that so bad. I feel like that's going to be one of my favorites ever made. And yeah, I mean, it's the worst kept secret in Hollywood. So I'm going to say it's spoiler. I mean, all Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are going to be in this movie. So that's the 3-pack I'm talking about. All 3 Spider-Mans.
Yes.
It's going to be
It's
awesome.
going to be crazy. It's just a big, I mean, I think this movie is just going to smash box offices in general because multiple reasons. Like you brought it up. I mean, you're bringing 3 different universes of Spider-Man movie fans, because we have some of the OG ones that only know Spider-Man as Tobey Maguire. We have the new people only know him as Tom Holland, and then Andrew Garfield right there in the middle. So I think the second we see them and they show them, everything that has to do with Spider-Man is just going to go wild, and Funko needs to obviously capitalize on that. And I think a 3-pack, like you said, would be perfect. It would be a grail instantly in my eyes.
Yeah.
Like, I think it would just be something that's going to be so sought after. And I hope they just make it normal. Like, just make the 3 of them, make sure that you could differentiate between them and their spider suits and everything. You don't have to make it glow. You don't have to make it black, like nothing. Just make it
just normal.
Themselves normal. And you're going to sell it. It's going to be insane. I'm super pumped for this.
You can correct me if I'm wrong, if you know this for a fact, but I'm pretty sure they've never made a Spider-Man Funko Pop of the Tobey Maguire movies. There's Spider-Man from the Andrew Garfield movies, but I don't believe they've ever been any pops based off
So
of the movies.
I don't think so either. I don't know if any of you guys know, like chime in, let us know. You can, message, comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. If not, you can chime into us on our DM. But yeah, I don't think so. I know majority of Spider-Mans are comic book related.
Yes.
Or like, from the comic series, animated series, like that kind of thing. And then the MCU one is really where it kind of blew up, where we see a lot of Tom Holland ones, obviously.
Like
but that's kind of where Marvel blew up in Funko anyways, is the MCU. We kind of went over that before. So yeah, so it's interesting to see if that's going to be the case. Then this would be enormous. I mean, obviously I know they make that funny 2-pack meme of the Spider-Man that's in pop form, but
which will definitely be in the movie.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Like, they're gonna have to point at each other in the movie when we see them all. But yeah, so that's something we wanted to bring up just because it's kind of like a speculation thing. It's kind of exciting news. I know most of us, as collectors, we can consider ourselves nerds and we love comic stuff in general. So this movie is just going to be such a huge impact on Marvel Cinematic Universe, the impact on Spider-Man and what happens with him going forward with Sony and all that. But for us as collecting Funko Pops, I think it's going to be a huge deal. I don't want it to be like where they make 50 different pops and it gets out of control, but I think they're going to make some pretty awesome, sick pops. And we're going to be able to see some of these older villains that maybe we haven't seen in pop form from some of the older Spider-Mans, because now most of those are actually confirmed to be in this movie. So, but yeah, that's going to be that. And let's get into some soda talk. So this is an episode that we have been wanting to do for quite a while. I know it was one of the main ones we wanted to talk about. I know we also want to open up some sodas for you guys. So we're going to kind of crack some open. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll kind of get more of the excitement of seeing what we get, but we'll describe it to you guys if you're listening either way. But yeah, Funko Sodas, for those of you guys don't know, is another product that Funko makes that is not a Funko Pop. So of course, if you're looking right now, Funko Pops are these down here in the boxes. Funko Sodas come in cans. So they actually aren't that old. They were announced January of 2020, and they basically kind of started off and rolled out right around when the pandemic happened, which is interesting. It was more so, I was collecting before that, but not so hardcore. I was just kind of starting. I started up my own collecting YouTube channel in April of 2020. So it was kind of after sodas were out, but I didn't really go after them initially. I wish I did, because there's so many sodas I wish I still had from those first waves. I know some of the initial ones were Batman, Robin. They initially came out. They came out with the cereal ad icons. Big Boy was one of the big ones, which has always been a big ad icon for Funko, along with some other Hanna-Barbera like Flintstones and some of those. But basically, yeah, soda is a can, which I have a couple here so you can see. So soda comes in a can. It does not have actual soda in it, which I know that was something that confused a lot of people. When I was looking back to get the confirmation of when this was actually announced on the Funko site, you can see like the little blog post. It says like, January 2020, Funko Soda, new figures, blah, blah, blah. It kind of describes what they are. And at the bottom, it says like, there is no liquid or anything in these. It's not actual soda. So it's funny they had to have that disclaimer, because it does. It looks like a soda can. It's super light. Basically what happens, you pop open the top and you're going to get a little figure in it. The figures are smaller and thinner than a pop, but I like the molds and I like the detail that they put into a smaller figure like this. They also come with a POG. The POG usually tells you if the soda is a common or a chase, because if you don't know, like we talked about before with chases and pops, same kind of thing. It's a 1 in 6 chance that you're going to get a chase. However, the biggest difference with pops and sodas is that not every soda has a chase, but a huge high number of sodas that release with a chase option, versus pops where majority of them don't have chases. So I like that. It kind of gives me excitement to try to pull, sodas. If any of you guys ever watched any of my videos, I do a lot of soda videos, because that's now the one thing I probably have been collecting more than pops recently. And it's mostly been for a few reasons. It's mostly because the space takes up a lot less space. I love the way they look. There's a lot cooler molds, in my opinion, with some of these, and you get a chance of getting a chase. So it's kind of an exciting thing. I've been collecting sodas for a little while now, not from the beginning, like I said, but probably over a year or so. But Charlie is pretty new in the soda game. I know we've mentioned it on here before. many times when we talk about drops and sodas that are coming out that he kind of was a little late to it, even later than I was, and I was a little late to it. But I got him excited and got him into some of these. I know the Marvel aspect of it, Marvel one started dropping a little bit later. That got him into it a little bit more. But yeah, like what's your outlook on sodas now, or maybe back when they first dropped, like why you didn't go after
Yeah,
them or anything? Because
I'll start why I didn't get into them in the beginning when they first were announced. Like you just mentioned, I didn't realize they were figures in the very beginning. I actually did think it was going to be like a new soda pop line. One, because if you guys listen to one of the earlier episodes when I got to meet Mike from Funko, he was telling me they were coming out with soda, and he was actually talking about real soda pop, not like soda the
yeah,
drink, not these cans. And then I was just like, you know what? When I first saw them, I didn't like the idea of, it's weird. I wish that they came, I love them now, but like let's just say how they came out with the Batman one. I kind of wish they came out with a DC soda line where, let's say, you had an option of getting 6 different figures. I didn't like the fact that it's just one common and one chase, because I would like to be able to get all of them, but and I know you love doing this. Sometimes for me, it's just like, I don't want to ultimately have to get all commons and never get the chases, where it's like, if I bought 2, maybe I would have had a chance to get like a Batman one and a Robin one. Not that it's just, this is a Batman can and this is a Robin can. So in the beginning, that
mhm.
kind of turned me off, that I ultimately could have been not had a chance of getting the chases if I didn't buy multiples, or I would have just gotten the one chase. I do like to be somewhat of a completionist with certain things. So it kind of just frustrated me. And I was just like, you know what? It's just another line that I love to collect things. And I was like, do I really need to start collecting another Funko product? But
Yeah.
Miguel got me really into these, and I completely was wrong. And I really do love them now. The detail is real. I also think they've come a long way. Like in the beginning, not to go
Yes.
on a tangent, like I didn't necessarily love the way they looked, where like the original Batman one, I'm like, this just had a weird style. And they've clearly changed that, in my opinion, have gotten away with the more cartoony style that they were in the very beginning to what they are now. Like the Marvel ones I love because they now have their soda look, but they're
Mhm.
definitely look more like the characters, is not just a random design. So that was another thing that turned me off.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think early on, like we, Batman was one of the first ones, so it was a really fat head mold. It was clunky. It didn't look. It kind of was similar to like when Pops dropped the very first Pops. We went over how those molds were so much more simple,
Yeah,
and now they put so much more detail into some of these. So I found out, or I find it the same that like the early on ones weren't necessarily the most detailed. However, like some of them were and some weren't, because like the serial ad icons, like you knew who they
you're
were,
right.
they looked
Yeah,
exactly like them. Those were good. But like some of the comic booky ones, they weren't. They weren't really true to like a specific character style or whatever. It was just like it was them. But now I feel like they're putting so much more detail into a lot of these. Like the Marvel line has come out, they look amazing. Majority of them are MCU versions of them, except for the Thor. We've gone over that before. That's more the comic style. But some of the sodas that are my favorites, like the details on them are insane. Like I just love that they have so many different versions, and they do put a lot of detail into this smaller looking figure, because usually in pop form you would have to get like a 10-inch version of the pop to see more detail, because that's
detail.
usually
Yeah,
kind of what they do, right? But with the soda, it being smaller, they have done a pretty good job. And I think, like you said, lately they come out even more in detail. They have cooler chase options. There's just like a lot of variations. Now, there's obviously lazy versions. There's some that I can completely say they need to be a little bit more, like they need to do a little bit more into it. But there's also restrictions, like these things have to fit into a certain can. There's only a certain size that they fit in, so they can't be a certain height, because that way it would pop out the top, so you can't have that. They can't be too wide. They can't put their arms out or anything, because then they're not going to fit in the can, or pieces will break off and stuff. So I understand that part of it, but overall I love the aspect of the chase thing. Like I get what you're saying too, which is funny because now one of the newest ones that's going to be releasing is the the Don or
The Donald Duck, the Three
is it Donald
Caballeros.
Duck, right? Yeah, the Donald
Like,
Duck
to
or the
me,
Caballeros one.
I wish more of them were like that. And it's not, I guess I got to rephrase it. It's not, I love the idea of getting the chase. I just wish there was more within the series. But what it seems that what they're doing now, which wasn't the case in the beginning, it's like you can see that they have like a line that they're releasing a new one for every few months. It's not like it's
Mhm.
over. It's like, okay, we know there's going to be new Marvel ones. We know there's going to be new DC ones. The Office,
Yeah,
the ad icons, like that. Now I really do like. Where in the beginning too, the other thing was just like it seemed very niche, which I
yeah.
don't feel that way anymore. Besides the DC characters in the beginning, that was the only ones that I really felt like I would have been interested in.
Mhm.
Where a lot of them, it really did feel like this was made for like a certain type of collector with old school, with things that they weren't necessarily making in pop form.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was looking when I was doing a little bit of research. I was looking into some of the initial ones. So, like Charlie was saying, so like Big Boy has always been kind of like their big thing. I think that was probably their first pop even that they ever made, right? So like that was one of their first sodas. Then they went into the cereal ad icons, so like Frankenberry, Count Chocula, that kind of thing. Batman, Robin, Wonder Woman, they came out, and then they kind of had some like Motu characters, and then they had Hanna-Barbera characters, which those
Yeah.
are a little random, very specific, and not everyone knows them or would collect them. And then the Flintstones and so on. But then I feel like they opened it up more. Then the Ninja Turtles came out, and then eventually when Marvel came out, and then they started doing movies like all the horror ones, and that kind of thing. And I feel like now they're coming out with so many,
It's
but even
totally
though they're coming
mainstream
out with so
now.
many, yeah, it's now the pop, characters that you know of when it comes to Funko Pops. It's the same kind of aspect, but even so, I still feel like there's some stuff that they don't have yet, or
Yes.
they are missing out on, because you're still gonna see a wave of like 7, 8 different sodas, and 6 of them will be like, oh, that's sick, that makes sense, I wish that came out. And then there's gonna be 1 or 2 that you're like, why did they even make that in a soda? Whether they have it in a pop or not, it just sometimes doesn't seem like it should. And I know I wanted to bring up that as a thing because I wanted us to talk about, obviously they have a ton in this line, but like some that we think, and a bunch of you guys have already all talked about this, we talk about it all the time, but like some lines that we think Funko should make in soda form and why they haven't, which is interesting. We kind of touched on this at one point, but Star Wars is one of them. So if you guys don't know, they don't make any Star Wars characters in soda form yet. Another one is sports. For me, I would love that. They don't make any athletes yet, whether regardless of what sport it is, they haven't translated over to soda yet. And then I know this one we talked about together was Harry Potter, which is
Yeah, I
a
would
funny
love
one because
Harry
that's a
Potter ones.
huge, so Star Wars and Harry Potter specifically are huge Funko lines when it comes to the pops. They're always dropping new ones. For cons, they're dropping them. Like there's always so many. Those just seem like they should have sodas of them already, but there has to be a reason why they
There's
don't.
got to be. Yeah, we've gone back and forth. Like, is it because of another company like Hasbro owns a license legally for like how the character looks or what it's called? But yeah, the fact that there's no Star Wars or like you said, Harry Potter, it just makes no sense. And they really need to get those. That's another thing. As a huge collector, I mean, Funko always finds a way to suck me in. But if you had Star Wars in the very beginning, like I would have started collecting sodas immediately. And then I would
Yeah,
have gone down the rabbit hole of wanting to get all the different other collections. But you
yeah,
didn't have anything that grabbed me in the beginning. It's why I didn't start doing it, even though I love Batman. I don't want to keep going on about the Batman one, but if it looked like, at that time, let's say like a Michael Keaton one or a
yeah,
Christian Bale, it's like I would have wanted that. But it didn't. And it was just like, okay, this is going to be another one of those. I honestly thought it was going to be a failure in the beginning, like a bunch of the other things that they have tried and they haven't stuck around for very long. But I've definitely been proven wrong on that. And
yeah,
this is now like obviously nothing's ever going to touch pop. Like that's what has made Funko what they are today. But this is
sure.
definitely like if you are a Funko fanatic who is hardcore loyalist who loves the brand, like this is the it product now, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think I think it got really popular. It blew up. I think it took a little while. There's obviously some of the OG collectors out there that they were in it from the beginning. A lot of us weren't, and then some of us just kind of have come along the way. But I agree. I think that sodas have just gotten so popular. They're pumping out so many different versions. So now they're reaching so many different avenues of a collector, regardless of your fandom. There's probably a soda now, at least one or so characters that will fit into that fandom. And if not, it seems like they're coming out with them though, like eventually. And like little by little, they're doing it. There's so many versions of them. I think the chase option of all of these is exciting. It makes it fun. It makes it great content to open up sodas and not know if you're going to get a chase or not. I think that whole aspect of it makes it really exciting. But even so, like just the figures themselves, I think they do such a good job. Like the way I look at it is this is what I do. So I don't just go after and try to buy every single one. So the way I do it is I buy 2 cans of each character. I've always done this pretty much from the beginning. I'll get 2 cans of each character. Even though it's a 1 in 6 chance, I take my chance because how amazing is it to get the first 2 right off the bat? It's happened to me plenty of times, and there's been plenty of times where I pull 2 comments. I've even pulled 2 chases just by having 2 cans. So like it really is random and it can happen. But the way I look at it is if I get 5, 6, 7, I know some people get like 10 and literally have them all be comments. Now I'm sitting on all this extra cans that I just have to try to get rid of and sell and whatever. And it's just a headache to me. So I just try to keep it minimal. Now, if I pull 2 commons and I don't get that chase, I'll try to get rid of one of them or whatever, but I'm probably never going to buy that soda again. That's usually like the way I look at it. Cause then I just move on to the next one. And I've been growing my collection of sodas just by getting new characters. If I happen to get the chase, awesome. Now I have both of them. Boom, move on to another one. New line comes out, move on to another one, like that kind of thing. Just because I know they're going to be spitting out so many of them that I'd rather do that than just sit and buy 100 of them of one and just try to get the chase every time. So that's kind of like what I've been doing. But besides those main lines, I wanted to ask you, because now that you're kind of back into or getting into sodas, and I feel like know majority of sodas that exist or that are going to be coming out soon. I wanted to ask you, what are some favorite characters, not just lines, specific characters that you think should be in soda form that haven't been yet? Because I have a few that I want to talk about, but this is just you personally, just because of what you like to collect, etc. What do you think you would want?
One, and it actually is a line, but it's not a mainstream line, but I would really like to see, because the one thing that the soda does do that I like is it does give a little bit of nostalgia at times for certain characters. I would love to have a Power Rangers line, and I think that would be pretty sweet, and you have a really good option of getting like chases with that. You can either have ones where they have their masks off, which I know they did in pop form, or even like I loved the Green Ranger. The chase could be the White Ranger. It's just like I think they would be great in pop form. I wish they made more. It's funny, you're a huge horror guy, so it works well for you, but I just wish they had more just movie characters for like mainstream movies, like big blockbuster type movies. Whether it's like that aren't the big IPs like the Marvels of the world. Like maybe it'd be cool if there was a James Bond one, and you could get a Daniel Craig character, or you get a Sean Connery. Like I'm trying to think of ones where, like, we've talked about good chases and lazy chases. I get excited when it's like a good chase, and I would like to see more lines like that where you could get stuff like that. I'd also like to, I wish there was a Lord of the Rings one. I mean, I could go on all day with ones I wish there were, because there's still tons of potential, but those are some ones that I would like to see besides the obvious of the Star Wars, like we said before.
Yeah, those would be that actually pretty cool. It's the Power Rangers, like you said, it'd be cool. It makes you think, like, I wonder when it comes to licensing and all that kind of stuff, like if them having it to make a pop automatically means that they can make it in a soda, or if it's a whole different thing.
Should be that way, but it
should be
not be.
But I feel like when it comes to like Harry Potter and Star Wars and that kind of stuff, it like almost makes it seem like it's not, like it has its own specific different, because we've even talked about, obviously, we went in depth on Marvel and how bobbleheads, all their pops bobbleheads, obviously no sodas are bobbleheads. So even the Marvel sodas aren't bobbleheads, but it's just an interesting thing. I mean, obviously it's like we can get real depth about that, but like my side of things, so like I completely agree when it comes to the movies. There's obviously a bunch of different characters and stuff from comics and stuff like that that I still wish that they make in sodas, and I hope they do. But I'm a huge horror fan, so obviously when it comes to the horror pops, they're some of my favorite pops, and they have transitioned into horror sodas. So like this entire row, if you're watching on YouTube right now, this entire row right here is all the horror kind of sodas basically that I have in my collection. Some of them are my favorites, like Edward Scissorhands, Beetlejuice, the Ash from Evil Dead is awesome, and the Chase, Chucky, Pennywise, of course. Those are super cool, but they're missing like the iconic horror to me, which are some of these that you see here, like Michael Myers. Come on, you need a Michael Myers, Freddy, Jason, Ghostface. Like if those four literally release, those would probably be the ones that I would go crazy and maybe overbuy to make sure that I get the Chase. Because of how hardcore it would be. They would obviously lend well to a mold. They make them already great in these kind of pops, so definitely do them in sodas. Like there has to be a reason why they haven't, but hopefully they do drop soon. That I just know would be awesome for a horror fan. But yeah, there's obviously a bunch of other ones that would make sense, but those are like my personal favorites that I think if I saw those, I would go nuts.
I'm
Because
also
those are the
happy they're
sodas that I
starting
want.
to make Disney ones. Like in the beginning, I was like, why are there no Disney ones? And I kind of like that they've made some pretty random, like out there characters, or not necessarily like the Rocketeer. It's not mainstream. That's a cool one that they
Yeah.
made. Roger Rabbit. They made the Professor Owl. Like I thought that was pretty cool that they were doing that, and like the Clarabelle Cow. I wish they
Mhm.
keep doing that with Disney and just make these random characters that they're don't have pop forms and they may never have pop forms. Like I want them to continue with that in the Disney line, because now it seems like they're going to start going. Not that I'm not super pumped for like the Sorcerer Mickey one, but they're making more mainstream characters now. And I liked
Yeah.
that they were making these random ones, which seemed like that may have been like the mission of the soda line in the very beginning.
Yeah, could have been. It could have been that whole aspect of what they were, like trying to make it more niche and that kind of thing. I like the mainstream ones. I like them mixing them in and out. I think
No,
that
no, I
would
do
be
too.
ultimately the best if they, do keep coming out with these big ones. But yeah, keep coming out with other characters. Because the thing is, if it's like a Disney character that happens to be not super popular or a side character, whatever, that's cool. I just don't like when they do like literally like when they did HR Puff and stuff, or
Yeah.
the other one that we spoke about, that bingo or whatever
Yeah.
from
From Banana Splits.
bananas, but like that's like way outside the box. Like you're now just getting super specific and niche, and I don't know, they can make whatever they want to make, but that's just my opinion. But I did want to kind of just go into, we're going to crack open some sodas in a second, but I wanted to just talk about like some cool stuff that as a big soda collector, some ways that we display our sodas and stuff. So obviously the soda comes, inside as a can, but you want to show it off. So the way I do it is I always have my cans in the back and then the figure in the front, sitting on a stand. So I actually get these little acrylic stands. So it's a circle stand with a little slot that is for a pog. I get these from good friend Ezra, which is at Flipkate Designs. He makes them. I like them because they're small, they're minimal. I usually put them in the front. They do fit on the top and the inside of the can, but I don't really display mine that way because of the height and stuff. Like I like displaying them this way. But then there are also, someone like Jim from Rock and Roll. He makes a bigger version, which obviously is nicer if you're going to put it on top because it actually sits right on top, and you can actually fit a little bit more bigger character and move them offset. So there's like so many different ways, but I think it's pretty cool. I like this aspect of it as well when it comes to the pogs. For this is mostly obviously for people who don't know about sodas, but when you open them up, they all have a pog inside, and I just grabbed two random. These are Batmite. So in the front, you can see here the Batmite will have a picture. When it's a common, it's white in the background. Not every single time, but like 99% of the time it's white, unless it's coming from an international can and it happens to be backwards. I don't want to get into that, but the chase will be like a color. So if you notice, it's black in the background versus the white. And then of course, the other side will say just that it's Batmite and then the chase. But I like that it describes what the chase is and it gives you the piece count, because all of these are limited. That's another reason why I like sodas, not even just because of the chase, it's just the overall aspect that they're limited. So whether you're looking at a 5,000 piece up to 20,000 piece or whatever it may be, it still is somewhat limited. I actually have my most limited piece is a 1500 piece, which is a Slee Stack, which was that WonderCon exclusive. It's not the Chase. The Chase is bananas, but as a can, it's the most like limited one I have. And then one of the most, but what I found was crazy is that sodas can get so expensive. So the most expensive soda I have is my big boy. I have a big boy Chase, which is $130.
Oh wow.
And that's not even the highest soda, but it's just crazy to know that a soda, which at the time was what, like 11, $12, and now they're like 15 because it went up, is now worth $130. And it's like, it's so nuts. But it's just a cool thing. I want to just show that kind of stuff off just to let you guys know if you don't know about, sodas. I love the cans. I love how the artwork is always
The
cool
cans
and
are
different
awesome.
on the
I
cans.
love how they look.
Yeah, the color, they always have color coordinated with the letters depending on whatever the figure is. That tells you the piece count on them. So yeah, overall, I absolutely love sodas. So I know we wanted to open up some sodas. So we have a couple sealed sodas here that we're each going to open up, but I have 2 super chickens. It's a funny story about these, and then 2 Danger Mouse. Very random, but the reason why is because these were sodas that I pre-ordered back in end of March, I want to say, of this year. And I just recently got them like maybe a month ago, or not even, like maybe 2-3 weeks ago. And they came from a place, Mighty Hobby Shop. I've heard of them, but I never ordered from them before. And I did this pre-order obviously back when they first came out. And the reason why was because I didn't only pre-order these, I pre-ordered the Batman Who Laughs soda, because that was a PX exclusive. So I knew that was a soda that wasn't going to be at Funko. It was more like comic shops, small sellers and stuff. So I happened to pre-order those plus all these. I completely forgot that I pre-ordered them. So months down the line, these all dropped. Not the Batman Who Laughs, that dropped more recently, but these all dropped. And I actually picked up 2 super chickens at one point, and I picked up 2 Danger Mouse at one point. So Danger Mouse, I still don't have the Chase. I'm hoping I get one Chase here. The super chicken, I got lucky and I 1 and 1. So these are just completely going to be random. I'm hoping to grab another Chase. Would be cool. But I just found it funny because it was like, that's why I don't pre-order sodas anymore, because I always forget about them and they take forever. So I'm all about just waiting till Funko drops them, or a site like Gemini Collectibles.
Well, the one thing that's so interesting though about sodas, just to bring up before we open them, is a lot of the main retailers like Target, Walmart, Amazon, they don't get them to carry.
No.
Do you find that interesting? Do you think
It is.
that's
And
done on
even
purpose?
not many at all do. The only ones that I know of are Hot Topic, GameStop,
Lunch.
Box Lunch. Yeah, Hot Topic, Box Lunch, I think
are owned the
essentially
same people.
company. Yeah. GameStop and FYE. They're like the only ones. And even so, I have only one time in my life of the years plus that I've been collecting sodas seen physical sodas in a store. That wasn't like a comic shop or someone was just, selling them. And it was at Hot Topic where I went one time where they had a release and they announced that they were going to release these. And it was some Motu characters that they released, some exclusives or something. And I got them there. And that was the only time I ever have. I know of people that go and they're like, oh, I picked them up at GameStop. Oh, I picked them up. And I've never seen
them. That shows back to another reason why I didn't start collecting them in the beginning. It was like, you had to actually like seek them out. If you weren't getting them from Funko, it wasn't just like, oh, I could stumble across these or on like the sites where I normally would buy my pops.
But it wasn't as often. Now I still stick to websites. I mean, some like big ones that I shout out all the time are obviously I Want This Stuff and Gemini Collectibles. I find like they've been the most reliable. They've been
agreed
where I can always find them. They come quick. It's always been the best for that. And then obviously Funko Shop specifically, but Funko's just a pain because they drop and sell like that and you don't get notified. So that's a whole nother issue. But yeah, we want to crack these open just to kind of show some excitement. I know Charlie has a few that he wants to open up too, because I know, like we said, Charlie's been getting into the soda game. He's not as hardcore yet as I am. He's still on the buying one for each character mode, but we'll see if we get him into getting multiples eventually. But what do you have over there?
These 2 right now, I'm going with DC. I picked myself up a Joker from the Dark Knight and Martian Manhunter. So I was these are 2 older ones, and I'm pretty pumped to open these up.
I have both of those chases actually, and they're amazing. The Joker chase, of course.
That's a
Heath Ledger. No, Heath Ledger.
I got the Heath Ledger
I have
one.
it. Yeah, I
It's the
have it.
bank robber without the mask, right?
Yeah, I like the common honestly of that one more, but I do have both of those. But the Manhunter one, I only have the chase. I don't actually have the common, which is
Oh
funny,
wow.
but it's cool. It's like a metallic glow in the dark one.
The other
So
great thing too about sodas is there's no debate. You open them. That's the other thing I like about them too. It's like it's not in box, out of box. I mean, most
yeah,
soda collectors, you open them because you got to see they got the chase. I
yeah,
like that too, which is it's just so
that's
funny
very
because
true.
yeah, like you don't need to. I don't know because I go back and forth, and not to change the top, but it's like, do I want to take some of these pops out of the box or do I want to keep them in this? I'm taking them out.
Yep. All right, so let's crack these open. So if we want, we'll go. So like I said, we'll let you guys know what we got, but obviously if you're watching, you'll get part of the excitement. So I'll crack one open first. So I'm gonna do a super chicken here,
Cool.
and we'll show off. We'll do the whole pog show off. How about that? Cool. We'll do the pog or the figure.
Whatever you want to do. You're the soda man.
Could do. We'll do. Let's do the pog. I'll do the pog for the first one. So obviously, if it's a chase, it'll say chase and it won't be as white. I had this one already. This is a glow in the dark, I believe, is the chase. So I'm going to show you. Oh, that looks kind of white. Yeah, common.
Yeah.
So that's a common.
All right.
Super chicken. So I already have this one, but
I'm gonna go with mine.
Sealed.
Common.
Martian Manhunter, man. That one is super cool though. Even the common is actually pretty sick on that one.
Yeah, that's also interesting. Like sometimes the commons are better. I mean,
yeah,
you want the chase just because it's more rare.
There are some that I wish like they changed the chase a little bit, but all right. So now I got a second one here. Super chicken. Oh, nah. Common. Yeah. 2 commons. And these are sodas I've waited like 7 months for at one point.
I'm gonna show off the figure since I only have the one, but
yeah,
this one's pretty sweet. I'm definitely a fan of this.
The Martian Manhunters are super cool. I mean, that's one of those characters that like you were talking about. Like it's like a kind of an off character that you don't really
which I like
a lot. Yeah. And yeah.
And I love that he was in the Snyder cut. But
yeah, you saw him at one point, but it's cool that they made that figure. And then I got 2 Danger Mouses. So this one I'm still waiting for the chase. So I'm hoping that I do pull it. These cans that I got though are dented. Well, one of them's okay. One of them is super dented. 2 different dents on it. Okay. And then another thing that's like a theory that they say too is when you get like the same ones. I don't know if you could tell, but this one has like a small hole. This one barely is like it's like sealed almost all the way across. So a lot of times with those sodas, they're like, oh, that's a chase. But
interesting.
This one's supposed to be like a little devil one. So I'm hoping I get him because I don't have that chase.
All right, I popped open the Joker. Let's see what we got.
Oh, almost thought you didn't have a pog.
Me
That's
either. I'm like,
thing.
that would be like, is this a fake?
They have sent, they've sent with no pogs. I've seen double pogs, the incorrect pogs. I actually got a Harley Quinn common figure with a chase pog, 1 chase pog. It was so random. So like there's been mess ups. There's been some cans. I've seen some people open cans where the figure is a completely different figure than what the can is. Like it's not even the same character.
This is sweet though. Super sweet.
Yeah, that was the first time you got that one, right?
Yep.
It's not a duplicate. No. Yeah, that's an amazing. That's like obviously my favorite character like ever. So all right, I'm gonna crack open a Danger Mouse. This is a pretty cool one. Of course, the normal one, he's like his little white mouse there, and the chase, he is red, like a little devil horns. So this one I'm gonna open up the bag because I really want this chase. So I gotta go back to Pop Migs style. Let's see what we got here. Trying not to look. All right, first one up. Ready? 2, 1.
Oh,
let's go. Let's go. We got
nice.
Man. I was so sick. So we pulled the chase. Dude, I wanted this one. That's so awesome. It's so funny that the super chicken I already had and I didn't really need. But there we go. And this pog is awesome too. Red, yellow on the back there. One. So it's Evil Danger Mouse, which is one of 1,200 Oh man, a little devil guy. That's sick. Now we need Charlie to pull
So
one.
happy we're finally doing this because I've been like saving a
Yeah,
few
do
that
the
I bought.
figure. You
All
gotta do
right,
the
I'm gonna
figure.
do the figure.
Maybe
This
that's the
one
way.
I got Baxter, so this is a pretty new one.
Oh, that one's so awesome. I actually just recently pulled those, and I have a common and chase. The chase of that is so sick. You'll be able to tell right away it's a different color completely. Like the whole thing glows, so it's like really awesome. I'll crack open the seal on this guy. Baxter Stockman. That's one of the cool ones. Ninja Turtle line has been growing.
All right,
There's a
one,
few though that
2, 3. Common.
common.
Still
Cool
cool.
though.
Yeah,
The wings are cool. They're like
they are.
translucent. They're like,
I love the turtle line. I want to try to get those. I know there's some more of the originals, but
yeah, the Ninja Turtle ones aren't too bad to get. The chases are the ones that are pretty pricey. They're some of my most expensive. I have a Donatello and Leonardo chase. I don't have Michelangelo and Raphael. The chases for the like Shredder, Bebop, Rock City, those are the blacklight ones.
Blacklights.
Those are crazy. I wish I had those. I have all the commons. All right. All right, last one here. I'll open up this one, even if it's a common, so you can see the difference. Danger Mouse. Let's see what we got. All right, ready? 2, 1. Boom.
Boom.
Common. Regular little white mouse. It's a cool one, though. You don't have this one, right?
I do not.
Cool. I'll send it to you because I don't need another one.
And then Iron Man, the OG.
Oh, Iron Man. But you don't have Iron Man yet?
No, weirdly enough. So I do have Iron Man. I have the chase. It's the first chase I pulled.
Oh,
so
okay.
I wanted the normal one. So I'm like, hey, this is so I'm actually getting a double because if I get a chase, I mean, I got 2 chases and I can easily flip that to get something I want. And if not, I get the normal one where he's wearing the full suit, which I kind of like that. I mean, I like the one
that's
where
one of the
you
that's
see Tony
one of the
Stark,
ones.
but
Yeah, that's one of the ones that a lot of people like the common more. Because it's Iron Man. Like obviously that one's Tony Stark, really realistically, but yeah, it's like it's Iron Man. If you're an Iron Man collector, you want it to be
it's
Iron
like
Man in the suit.
to me, that's 2 different ones, which I do like. So
yeah, they've done that a few times. I like how Flash is reverse Flash is the chase.
Okay,
there you go.
So can't be mad.
Yeah, so he pulled the common.
No chases.
Either way, he already has a chase, so it's still fine for that. Yeah, no chases overall. We got 1. So I did 1 and 4. He was 0 and 4, but that just shows you there the odds. Obviously, it's random. You never know. That's why I usually like getting 2 because it does give you a little bit better opportunity.
No, it totally does.
But I know a lot of people do 3. Some people will do 3, and they seem to have some pretty good success.
I had this just to show. So people who are watching, this is what the chase looks like.
The chase Iron Man is cool. It's literally Tony Stark. So funny. But he's just like no helmet on. That was fun though. Nice. Oh man, I'm so happy I got the Danger Mouse.
Me too, man.
Now I have a bunch of extra super chickens out here. A bunch of commons of these. I don't even know much about super chicken, but
actually.
there it is. So yeah, that's some of our soda stuff. So like I said, I think sodas are going to be huge. They're going to continue to grow. I mean, we see this week, surprisingly, there wasn't too many drops, but like every other week or so, you'll see like a wave of anywhere from 5 to 10 like new sodas that are going to be dropping. And I have a bunch of sodas still coming in that I'm really excited for. I just ordered some Godzilla sodas. I have the Maleficent soda, like a new rat thing. There's a bunch of different ones I had just the Sully. I'm so excited for that.
Sully one, yeah, I'm pumped for the Sully
locked. Bunch of those will be coming in. So if you guys like sodas or you got into sodas and you haven't checked out my page, do make sure that you follow me at Pop Migs, and you can see I do a lot of soda, videos on there. But yeah, we got Charlie into sodas now.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna get bigger and crazier now because now he's like slowly getting more. Now look, he got 2 cans and he's got a common or chase.
I know. I'm really looking forward to the Spider-Man one. So that I'm gonna have to get as well. That I will try my luck because I love that. That's
there's a lot coming out. There's been a lot of announced ones that I think they're doing. I think overall sodas have gotten so much better too. So I think that's going to keep them selling. The price point now maybe might be something that affects some people. I know they used to be 12, now they're 15. So they did go up a lot more than a pop did, which makes you think one of two things. Like, are they making more money off of these because they're finding more people are buying sodas and pops? Or is it, which I think it's probably more this, is it that it's costing them more? Because I know obviously aluminum cans are a big
I think
deal
that,
right now. So
and
I
they're not
feel like,
producing as many in bulk where,
yeah.
but it's
So they
still
have
like
to like,
15. I feel like I don't think it should have went up to 15 for one,
yeah,
in my opinion.
it's a tough number to swallow now that I've been getting more sodas recently since that raise. And like I always get, like I said, I get two at a time. So it gets a little pricey sometimes, but I think it's worth it. And I mean, the thing about these is like if you pull a chase, those automatically are
You're
40,
good.
50, 60
Yeah.
dollars up. Like the values of chases are crazy and they stick for the most part. Some of them will go back down. They're still going to always be worth usually more than a common, but I like that they keep their value and they kind of skyrocket up because it really is a very limited piece. Any chase
Yeah.
you're looking at is like 1,000, 2, 3, 4,000 pieces max or so, versus some sodas or some pops stuff that you're looking at that have like unlimited number of releases. So, but yeah, anything you wanted to add in and just kind of
No,
overall with sodas or
just I mean, I'm happy you got me into them, and I think they really are the new shiny toy over at Funko. And you could tell, like we said, they keep making more and more, and the lines are expanding. And I'm really excited that I started collecting them, and I really just need the Star Wars ones.
yeah,
Funko, give me the Star Wars ones.
dude,
I know I'm not the only one who's asking you for that. Like, we
no,
need the
everyone would go
Star Wars
nuts.
ones.
There
So
really has to be a reason. I wish they would like really. And what's funny is like you never get an answer because even on the Funko's IG page, when they would have like some reveals and those girls would come on and they talk about like what's coming, whatever. Randomly, they'll take questions and they'll like at people are talking throughout the chat the entire time. And I at one point someone did say something and it was because they were releasing some new sodas and they were showing them
yeah,
off. Someone said something about Star Wars, and the girl literally was just like, "Oh yeah, Star Wars would be awesome." Like didn't say it like, "Oh, we want that," or "It's in the work." Nothing, just kind of like, "Yeah, that would be cool." And it's
it's
like,
funny.
yeah, that's so
They
weird.
not only is that weird, it's fun. Like, not that though it isn't. It's not that I don't enjoy watching when they do those like Instagram lives, but they don't know necessarily what they're talking about. They're just employees who are showing off the stuff, and there's
Yeah, and
nothing
I found
wrong with
out
that.
that little by little. Yeah,
Yeah. So, but it does get annoying because people are asking questions like that and they don't know. So it's
yeah,
almost like, why are we asking you questions?
yeah, and
But
people will still do it
they'll
obviously
still,
because
of
they
course,
work for Funko, so you automatically
yes, you
think,
think they know. But
yeah,
my prediction is if we are going to get Star Wars sodas, Star Wars Celebration is coming back. For those who don't know, that's essentially Star Wars Comic Con. They always have exclusives for that. I feel like if they've been working on the license, that's when the first one will drop because it'll be like the first one for a special reason. It'll be super probably valuable and people are going to want to get it. I think that is a good opportunity to drop like the first one.
yeah, that makes sense. I thought Star Wars Day was when they were gonna. I know there was a lot of talk around that.
Yeah.
Like, are they finally gonna drop sodas now? And I feel like overall Star Wars Day was a little weak in general because this year it just seemed like kind of weird. So maybe
Yep.
that's why they did it. But that would be a good day. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, keep your eyes and ears out there. If you guys know anything, obviously there's constantly stuff coming out. But if you're not into sodas, hopefully we helped you kind of take a little bit more of a push into getting into sodas. But if you're on the fence on them, I would say try them out. Go after some characters that are your favorites, somebody you really like, and see, get a couple cans, try to get some chases and see if you get that rush on pulling a chase or not, and see if you like them. If not, maybe they're not for you. I think they're amazing. I love the way they look, and I love that I could display so many more of them than a pop because they just take up a lot less room. So like personally, I've been getting more sodas than I have pops really lately. I mean, kind of a mix, but I generally stay away from too many pops because I just am running out of room. But So that was our soda episode. Thank you guys for everyone for watching or listening and sticking around while we even opened up some. At least we got one chase. Luckily, if we didn't have any chases, that would have been a very weak performance by us. But I'm glad we at least got one, and you did get all brand new sodas that you wanted anyway. So, but yeah, it was an exciting episode, and we'll be back next week with some more news and everything like that. So just make sure you guys are following us on all of our platforms like Instagram, Twitter, and subscribe to our page. If you're listening on YouTube, or if you're listening or watching us on YouTube, please make sure that you do subscribe. I know we're trying to get our subscribers up. We want to make sure that you guys are, getting all of our content every time we drop it on Mondays for you guys. But we really appreciate all the people who have showed support by subscribing already. But just make sure you do that and follow us over on Instagram, because we'll be posting more stuff and news, and we put up polls and stuff and things like that.
Please stay engaged. And this is a perfect episode to give us your opinion on what soda line you want to see. I mean, we want to hear it because, everyone has all these different opinions and ideas, and could be stuff that, me and Miguel would love to see and we're not even thinking of. So let us know what you want. And,
absolutely.
We're excited to read them. Back. We love seeing you guys comment, and we definitely will respond back and keep it engaged.
Yep. Definitely comment. Even if, let's say you don't like sodas, let us know why. What are your reasonings? Maybe you didn't or whatever. Totally fine. We're open to all different.
Let us know if we converted you. So Migs converted me. So we want to convert more people.
All right, guys. So until next week, when we come back, I'm Miguel, Migs.
And I'm Charlie. Have a great week, everyone.
Take it easy, guys.